if we are driving down I-44 and I'm your co-pilot, so you don't have GPS, I'm your GPS.
Right.
and you're in the left-hand lane, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you need to exit here.
Right.
And you've got to cross 3 lanes of traffic and exit right then. It'll happen,
Yeah.
but it might not be pretty.
Right.
Where if I say, in about 2 miles, might want to go ahead and get over into the right-hand lane. We're going to need to exit here. Mm-hmm. It gives that warning, and we don't have that sense of panic and struggle and stress that we as parents feel when we're just, needing to do something and pivot right at the moment.
Yeah.
Kids don't do well with that.
Yeah.
Adults don't do well with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more we can prepare kids for that, the better.
Yeah. There's this great quote by Matt Walsh about parenting. He says, "Parenting is the easiest thing in the world to have an opinion about, but the hardest thing in the world to do." I feel that this sentiment is shared broadly by all types of caregivers. Sometimes we as parents just need a little help, a little guidance. Even seasoned parents run into new situations that can rock their worlds and send them back to the drawing board. In today's episode, we're sharing what we believe are extremely practical, extremely actionable tips on keeping children safe. Some things we'll discuss today may serve parents of very young children, but we also talk about things that impact older children and young people too, like social media, illness, discipline, and affirmation. Listen in and let us know in the comments about your experiences. We'd love to hear from you. And we're happy to share some of our key principles about keeping children safe at home today on OK State of Mind. I'm Chris Posey, Director of Marketing and Communications at Family and Children's Services, and I'm here with Rachel Roberts, Public and Government Affairs Manager at Family and Children's Services, and we are so happy you are with us for today's episode. Well, welcome to OK State of Mind. We're happy to have you here with us today, and we're really excited about our new studio. You may notice it looks quite a bit different than the podcasts that we've done in the past, and we are so excited to be here. The facility looks great. Our multimedia design managers, Clayton Dom and Russell Wadlin, have just done a great job getting this set up, and we are really thankful for our facilities group here at Family and Children's Services. They have helped out tremendously. So it's an exciting day. Glad you all can be here today. And as we get started, ladies, do you all mind just introducing yourselves and telling us what you do here at Family and Children's Services?
My name's Lorinda Reed. I am the trainer for the Safe Care program in the Comprehensive Home-Based Services, or CHUBS department here at Family and Children's Services.
My name is Sarah Linkford Sorbino, and I am a coach on both the Safe Care expansion side and on the CHUBS side, the Comprehensive Home-Based Services.
All right. And Rachel Roberts with us today too.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
It has.
So, yeah. Well, today we want to talk about safety at home. It's a stressful issue with parents, especially new parents. You begin to see, oh, my child is not feeling well today. I can tell, I can sense it, or maybe they have a fever or something like that. It's clear that there's something happening. And that initial discovery is one of the most stressful parts, because it's like, well, what do I do? Do I treat this at home? Do I wait until, and it always happens on a Saturday, by the way. So it's like, do I wait until Monday and just go into the pediatrician? Or do we need to go to the urgent care, or even beyond that? How can we kind of make that judgment, make wise decisions there?
Well, taking a child's temperature is definitely a good place to start. There's lots of different ways to take a child's temperature. For babies, rectally, you can take a temperature orally, on the temporal, on the forehead, in the ear. And depending on how old the child is, would depend on how serious that is then.
Yeah. All right. And, say we decide, okay, let's just do some pain reliever. My child has a headache or something like that. How can we navigate dealing with medications with our children?
Not all caregivers or parents know how to dose their children correctly with medications. So first of all, talking to your pediatrician about what medications are appropriate for your child is where to start. And then, as my daughter says, numbers are hard. So you've got milliliters, you've got teaspoons, tablespoons, knowing all of those differences. And I was on a home visit once with a staff where they had to, the parent got the unopened medication out, and they read through the directions and actually helped the parent to
Oh.
determine the correct dose for
Right
the
there in
child
the home?
that was actually sick right there in the home. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. All right.
Well, when it comes to getting sick, another concern could be poison control. Can you all talk about poison control related calls? What are you seeing as the most common type of poison control call?
Well, you would think that it would be cleaning products, but actually it's not. I think most parents know that cleaning products are typically unsafe, and so they tend to put those up. So the number one call to poison control is actually hygiene products.
Wow.
So if you think about all of the things that you have in your bathroom, hair products, makeup, all of the
Lotions.
soaps, lotions, absolutely. Those are the things that small children are getting into. They see their mom put on makeup, and so they're experimenting as well and getting themselves into danger.
So when you say small children, is there an age that is more susceptible to these types of calls?
I would absolutely say that it peaks around the age 2,
Okay.
mostly because that's when kids are becoming most mobile.
Yep. Curious.
They're
curious,
becoming
yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
They learn by putting things in their mouth.
Oh, yeah.
So they're tasting everything. And so it just becomes, much more dangerous to have all of these things accessible to them.
When I was a kid, and this just shows my late development. When I was a kid, I would go into the bathroom and I would get under the sink and I would get whatever was down there. I was like this amateur chemist. And so I would just pour stuff into the sink thinking I was creating some potion or some, anyway. And looking back on that now, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so lucky that nothing went awry there.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and kids they're smart.
Yeah.
I caught my son underneath the kitchen table and he knew he was not doing stuff right because he was hiding under the table, but he had opened a childproof lid on
wow.
prenatal vitamins.
Yeah.
And so immediately called poison control.
Yeah.
And
Well, and vitamins, that's an interesting point too, because we talk to our kids about how healthy vitamins are for us. And so they may see something like that and say, well, if one is healthy, then 20 is going to be really healthy, and that could really be a problem.
well, and they see us, again, they're mimicking our behavior.
Yeah. Yeah.
They see parents and adults and caregivers putting these things in their mouth so they get access to them and do the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of them look and taste like candy too.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, vitamins, but also just like cosmetic products and things like that. It's all colorful. It all smells good.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the reasons why, the hygiene products is so high
Yeah.
in poison calls.
Well, and not just taste like candy, they look like candy.
Right. They have gummy versions of so many
right.
different
Exactly.
medications now. And I mean,
Laxatives that look like chocolate.
that's right. That's right.
So, I mean, these are tempting.
Yeah,
too.
grape flavored cough medicine and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of delicious. All right, so say we've got all of our stuff put away the way we're supposed to have it. All of our dangerous products are put up. They're up high. Everything's safe now, right?
Well, we certainly want to make sure that we do have all of those things put up because a clean house does not necessarily equal a safe house. So we want to make sure that we are getting rid of organic material such as decaying food and rodent droppings and insects and things like that. We also want to make sure that we're getting rid of allergens, so pet hair and dust and mold. But even if all of those things are eliminated, there are still hazards in the home.
Yeah.
So we do want to make sure that we are securing weapons, that we have sharps out of the reach of children, that choking hazards aren't accessible, suffocation hazards, all of those things.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like you're talking about supervision here too. Can you talk about that and why that's so important when you have kids at home?
Absolutely. Supervision is key. And supervision isn't just knowing where your kids are. Supervision isn't just being able to see your kids. It's being able to be close enough to keep something dangerous from happening to them. I can see a child, on the sidewalk, but if I'm not close enough to keep them from going into the street, then I'm not supervising them. So we want to make sure that we are close enough to them to keep something from happening.
And like we already mentioned, kids are curious, so we can have everything as cleaned up as possible from what we think, but surely there's usually
They'll find a
something that
way.
they'll find.
Yep.
Well, you would think that sleep would be one of the safest things that, that we could participate in, including our children. But even with something like sleeping, there are some hazards there. There are some
Absolutely.
things to consider. What can parents do to improve the sleeping environment for their children?
So safe sleep for parents that have any kids under 1 is extremely important. So when I was raising my kids, it was common in practice that kids slept on their side with a wedge or they slept on their stomach. And research has shown that that's just not safe.
Yeah.
There's risks involved with that. So sleeping, an infant sleeping on their back in a crib or a bassinet or a pack and play with nothing but the baby. And again, when I had my kids, it was popular to have all of the bumper pads and the matching plushies and blankets and all of that in there.
Yeah.
And all of those become suffocation hazards for an infant.
Yeah.
I do think a common question we get to, or a little bit of backlash in regards to that, is a lot of parents are worried about their kid being cold at night if there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
But now they make wearable blankets, and they've got really great swaddles for babies and things like that. So we're always trying to kind of push those wearable blankets and resource them if we can.
That's a good thought.
What about co-sleeping with a baby or a small child? What do you all teach on that?
So co-sleeping comes with risks. An adult mattress is typically softer than an infant mattress, which is much more firm. And the risks of a parent rolling over on an infant because they're asleep, or an infant falling between the crevices between a wall and the bed, just add additional risks to that. And the other thing about sleeping in swings or car seats is a baby's organs are all compacted. So when they're bunched up like that, it puts pressure on the lungs, and so they're not able to breathe. So having them, again, sleep on their back is the safest way for a baby to sleep.
Okay. Well, speaking of sleeping and tiredness, parenting is just exhausting. I mean, it just is. And, it can be especially easy for, I would say, young parents, but really any parent or grandparent or any caregiver to just become exhausted and just not be as on top of things as they are when they're, wide awake and everything. And can actually, it can lead to some bad decisions. And one of them being shaking a baby. Can you talk a little bit about the notion of shaking a baby?
Absolutely. So shaken baby syndrome happens when a baby is shaken, and with such force, their heads are big, their necks are tiny. So it's kind of that bobblehead to the worst degree. And it can cause all sorts of side effects, blindness, paralysis, death, developmental disabilities, all of those things.
Yeah.
And all of those feelings that you described are normal. So parents are going to feel tired. They're going to feel helpless. They're going to feel frustrated. But it's knowing that there are resources out there.
Yeah.
So if you are in that position, knowing to call a friend, call a family member, call the COPES hotline, call 911 if you ever feel like you are in jeopardy of hurting your infant or child.
And I think that's a great point that you make too. And that is that these feelings are normal. And I think that parents can become anxious just because they're thinking, I shouldn't be thinking this. I shouldn't be getting frustrated with my own child. I love my child.
Right.
And that just adds to the anxiety.
And the guilt and shame.
Yeah,
that goes with that.
right. And I think parents or people, adults in general, may think, well, a little shake is not going to hurt anybody, but obviously even the slightest shake is going to potentially do damage.
Absolutely. Again, because of that weak neck and heavy head, that it can cause all sorts of problems. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people also, think, oh, I would never do that. I'd never do that. And until you're kind of in that spot where you're so tired and your baby's crying. A lot of people have colic babies, or that's just their way of communicating. And so a lot of people get to the point where I don't know what else to do, but, make them be quiet. Can you just be quiet? And that's a lot of times where that shaking comes in. A lot of times it's not even the actual first parent or caregiver of the child also. So, it's kind of important to also talk with anyone else that's watching your baby, you know,
Yeah.
grandparents, aunts, uncles, friends,
That is a great point.
because they may not have as much patience as you do also as mom or dad, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly okay for caregivers to put a baby in that safe sleep space and take a break.
Yeah.
Walk outside for a minute, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Again, call a friend, listen to a song, do something that helps to regulate yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
What are some, at-home habits that we can develop that will help kids develop physically and emotionally? I mean, we're kind of switching gears here, but can you talk about some of those home habits that we can work on?
I think routines is really important. And a lot of times, parents or caregivers think routines mean very specific times for specific things. My kid gets dropped off from the bus at 4. We have a snack at 4:15. We start homework at 4:30. Homework is done by 5. And so the problem is that life happens.
Right.
And, the bus is late, or we have a project that takes longer than that. So sometimes routines isn't the specific time. It's just the order in which things happen, which creates stability for kids. They know what comes next. I know that I have a snack when I get home from school. I know that I play outside when my homework is done. And so creating that stability for them helps to create just a feeling of safeness for them.
Yeah.
And it helps them remember that their caregiver's dependable. You know, if they have that routine, then they know, okay, I can depend on whoever my caregiver is to be here and provide this at this time, which helps in those times of uncertainty or when there isn't routine.
Right.
How can parents help with this? How can they contribute to this notion of routineness?
One simple thing is preparing the child and giving a 5-minute warning.
Oh, yeah. Yes. That's a
So
good
sometimes
idea.
that's part of the routine.
Yeah.
In 5
Right.
minutes, snack time is over.
Yeah.
We're going to start our homework. Or if there's a change in the routine. So today we have a doctor's appointment. So in 10 minutes, I'm going to need you to finish your video game so
Yeah.
that we can get ready to go. Those simple things can help a child adjust to that change in schedule. I think about if we are driving down I-44 and I'm your co-pilot, so you don't have GPS, I'm your GPS.
Right.
And you're in the left-hand lane, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you need to exit here.
Right.
And you've got to cross 3 lanes of traffic and exit right then. It'll happen,
Yeah.
but it might not be pretty.
Right.
Where if I say, about 2 miles, might want to go ahead and get over into the right-hand lane. We're going to need to exit here. It gives that warning, and we don't have that sense of panic and struggle and stress that we as parents feel when we're just, needing to do something and pivot right at the moment.
Yeah.
Kids don't do well with that.
Yeah.
Adults don't do well with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the
Oh, yeah.
more we can prepare kids for that, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a situation that I had with my son, and he would get so frustrated whenever we would go in and just say, okay, we're going to, grandma's house or whatever. And so then he's in a cranky mood at grandma's house, which is not good. And this is a habit that we implemented, kind of giving him a heads up. And I mean, he's still not always super excited about getting off of his games or his phone or watching TV or whatever, but it still softens it a little bit, I guess.
Well, again, I think we as adults, we don't like some of that same stuff too.
Right.
But we expect children
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah.
manage that
Right.
in ways that we don't like to manage it either.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a lot about preventive behaviors to protect our children. What can we do that's a little more proactive, not just being on the defensive, but how can we, be, again, just proactive in dealing with our children?
I think it starts with play.
Yeah.
There's a great TED Talk done by a 7-year-old named Molly, and she says that a game of peekaboo can change the world. So when parents take time to not just watch their kids play, but to actually interact with them, it teaches kids how to express their wants and needs and how to communicate. It teaches caregivers what their kids do want and need. We as parents sometimes don't prioritize that.
Yeah.
And so when we take the time to teach them those skills through play, we're our kids' primary teacher for the first years of their life.
Yeah.
And so prioritizing play is definitely a place to start there.
That's great.
Well, again, I'm kind of switching gears here, but and this is sometimes a controversial topic when it comes to disciplining a child. So can you all give us just some general insights about discipline and disciplining your children?
Discipline is tough.
Yes, it is.
For any parent.
And unique for each kid
Yes,
situation.
Absolutely. So there are some parents that don't discipline their kids at all.
Yeah.
There are other parents that are disciplining their kids, but using techniques that aren't really effective. And then there are other parents or caregivers that are using techniques that are really harsh, maybe spanking their kids, maybe leaving bruises or marks with that, which is considered abuse. And so learning other different positive disciplinary techniques that are going to work better. So rewards versus bribes, and logical and natural consequences, appropriate ways to take away privileges for younger kids, variations of timeout. All of those are going to
It's not
be
a
meaningful.
one size fits all.
It's not a one size fits all.
Especially with different ages too,
Absolutely.
I would assume.
And most of discipline does start with that prevention that we already talked about. So with, learning how to give them that time warning so that they don't get upset, and lash out or things like that. So being able to kind of prepare them better
Yeah.
is where it all starts. Yeah.
Or setting up good expectations and giving good directions. If we're not telling the child exactly what we want them to do and being explicit about them, then go clean your room. And then they do their interpretation of that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I had in my head. And now they're in trouble for not fulfilling what I told them to do. That's not really fair.
Yeah. And I think it's good if parents can plan ahead on the discipline plan, like they just know the plan in advance so that whenever something does arise, they're not playing it by ear. I mean, they actually have something in mind, in place that's been discussed, and they can just move forward with that rather than reacting rashly because they're mad.
Yeah, it's much more fair. It's much more age appropriate. I was definitely what we would call a rubber band parent, where my kids would do something and I would take it, and then they would do something else and I would take it and take it and take it and take it until I would snap.
Yeah.
And then the consequences of that were extremely disproportionate to the last misbehavior.
Yeah.
Then they're like, what the heck, Mom?
Yeah. No, I've been there too.
So, and we all have, but learning to, again, be proactive in that and set meaningful consequences and being consistent with those is going to be much more meaningful.
Yeah. And what about the flip side of the coin, the provision of positive feedback when things are going right? What are some ways parents can do that?
I would say that starts with praise. And there are lots of different ways to praise. Sometimes it's, just sweet baby and I love you and just general, positive words. Other times it's just general praise. So good job, or that was awesome. But if you want to actually change behavior, then labeled praise is the way to go.
Okay.
So I really like how you colored on the paper and not on the table. Or I really like how you used walking feet in the house. Those are ways that kids want to please. And when they know exactly what it is that you like and that you want, then they're going to do more of that.
So labeled praise is kind of when you catch that good behavior in action and immediately respond to it.
Exactly.
And like
good thought.
Sarah said, if you're using these positive strategies more, you'll have to end up using the disciplinary strategies less.
I feel like, praising is almost in a way a form of discipline.
Yeah.
If you think about, discipline is kind of trying to elicit a certain behavior that you're wanting or
Yeah.
things like that. That's exactly what you're doing with
Yeah.
praise. If you're able to catch it and give them that specific praise early on, then you're going to see less of those misbehaviors that you have to follow up with.
Yeah. I like that labeled praise. I've
Yeah.
never heard that, but I like
that's
that
a
a
good-
lot.
good thought.
Well, as kids mature and they grow, they start to create their own identities. And I'm just curious, how can parents support their child's ability to reason and engage?
Giving kids choices is one good way of doing that. And sometimes caregivers or parents think, I don't need to give kids choices. They're kids. Like, I'm going to tell them what they need to do.
Right.
But it creates that independence. It teaches them that life skill of a choice and a consequence. And sometimes that consequence is positive, and sometimes that's a natural consequence. And sometimes it's just as simple as, do you want to wear the red shirt or the blue shirt? And empowering them to do that. Sometimes the choice can be even more targeted. So do you want to do your homework first or take a bath first? Or do you want to wear the coat or bring the coat with you? In that instance, both the bath and the homework are getting done.
Yeah.
But you've empowered the child to be able to choose which one to do. Yeah. The coat's going either way.
Yeah.
And so it helps to, again, create that life skill. It certainly helps to not add that additional piece when the child does put the coat on. See, I told you need to bring your coat. That's not really helpful.
Yeah.
Don't want to do that. A lot of parents and caregivers are getting their resources or their parenting advice from social media. And sometimes that's okay. And sometimes it's just a TikTok influencer or someone that has a channel that, has made 30 takes before they get their child to respond appropriately.
Right.
And then they say, hey, look at how this works. And nobody sees the backside of that story.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that parents are using legit websites and resources for parenting.
Yeah, I think that, the good thing about it is that there's so many different examples. And like we've already talked about, each kid is different, right?
Yeah.
So if a parent feels like they've tried everything, maybe there's something else that they see that they haven't tried that'll work for them. But as the kid also, we talk a lot about that interactive play, those intentional words and things that we've already mentioned. I think that we have to be really conscious about social media, phone time, screen time, and things like that as parents, because it's really easy for us, especially if we've, already worked a full day. We're coming home, we just want to sit and scroll and let our kid play in the other room. But we're modeling that same behavior, and so that's what they're going to start picking up on. And if we're letting ourselves be, affected by all those different videos and influencers and things like that, they are too.
Yeah.
They're always over our shoulder watching what we're watching. I don't, know if anyone ever notices, but you're really never looking at your phone without your kid looking at your phone also. So I think all those things are really important to think about, and realizing that it's not just your world that you have there, but you're now sharing it with a little you. So
Yeah. There's a level of intentionality that's required just for that attention that our children need. And it's so easy, as you say, to come home from work or whatever, and you just want to veg.
Yes.
And you're just like, I'm just going to watch TikTok. And
that's why
it ends
parenting
up
is hard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's why it's easy to watch your kids play.
Yeah.
As opposed to taking that effort to interact with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the things that we're talking about here are explicitly connected to what you two do on a daily basis. Can you talk to us a little bit more about Safe Care in general?
Absolutely. Safe Care is a nationally recognized curriculum, first of all. And so the program that we operate uses that. We serve kids that are 0 to 5, or if a mom is pregnant. The benefit to our program is that we will actually come to the home.
Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
So we will work with the parent in their environment, looking for those safety hazards, helping them to learn how to take a temperature, playing with their kids, modeling some of these skills with them, and then having them practice. We are in the Tulsa area and all of the surrounding counties. Our program is up to a year long. So some parents don't need that long. Some parents do. We will be flexible as to what the needs of the caregiver are and develop a plan that is based on their goals and what's important for them.
That's awesome. So Safe Care is one resource that parents can utilize and a valuable resource. And you earlier alluded to online resources. What are some other resources that parents can use just to help them in this very challenging job that we have?
Yeah. So in our community, we certainly have some resources that we use. We partner with Emergency Infant Services. Crisis Pregnancy Outreach is another great one. The health departments in all of the counties are a great resource. Food banks, all of these things are in our communities here to help.
And if a parent is listening today and wants to get in touch with Safe Care, how can he or she do that?
Yeah, so like Lorinda said, really the only requirement for our program is that you have one kid within the age range of 0 to 5, so pregnant or through the age of 5. It's free services. We come to your home and do all of that. So if you're interested, you can go to just our regular Family and Children's website, and under programs, you can click on the Safe Care link. And on there is just a quick referral form. I'm pretty sure it's just like a name, an email, a phone number, very simple. And that will come directly to us at our program. And one of our staff members and supervisors will reach out to you guys, to the parent or caregiver, and schedule with them or whoever the referral is from. We get referrals not just from parents and caregivers, but also from school counselors, other social workers, things like that. Anyone you think could benefit from it. So we just call them and tell them that we received the referral and ask them when a good time would be for us to come out and just talk with them more about the program.
All right. So fcsok.org, and then go to services and choose Safe Care, and there's a referral form there.
Yes, and there's also a link in Spanish as well. So it'll take you to a full page and a full referral form in Spanish.
All right.
Great.
All right. Well, Lorinda and Sarah, thanks for being with us today. This has been great information, extremely practical, extremely easily applicable. So we're really happy that you two could be with us today. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found value in what you heard today, there are a few ways you can support and stay connected to us. First, be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us. Subscribing ensures you never miss an episode, and it's absolutely free. It also helps us continue bringing you quality content. Consider leaving us a review. Your reviews not only make our day, but they also help others discover the podcast and join our community. Share this episode with friends, family, and anyone who might find it interesting. Word of mouth is a powerful way to grow our podcast family, and we truly appreciate your support. We're always eager to hear your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions. Email us at communications@fcsok.org with any episode ideas or questions. We'd love to connect with you. To learn more about Family and Children's Services, visit fcsok.org. Until next time.